Broken. Don't owe you an explanation. Broken. Don't owe you an explanation.
Wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's TeenTok show, proudly brought to you by Aloud Gambia and Paradise TV. Now, Aloud believes that every young person has a gift and a talent, and we're here to give you advice. We're here for you, anything that you need, right? And the TeenTok is your one-stop show where we answer questions that young people have. Questions, mind-boggling questions, controversial questions, questions that you probably can't ask your parents or your teachers or anybody around you because they're just like weird stuff, you know. And so we're here to give you God's perspective on those questions. Wow. And as always, I am Josephine and I'm your host for today. And I have with me a very important and special guest. As always, we always bring important and special people to you guys, right? Mm-hmm. And today, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ire, and I'm the guest for today.
Wow, Ire, it's good to have you back. How have you been?
I've been okay.
Okay. I think for me personally, the rain yesterday was like a huge relief at some point. For some reason, I found myself outside when it was raining. Yes, it was 11 p.m.
Yeah. And you were outside?
Yes, I was outside.
Okay.
Yes, the rain was heavy there, but it was a good relief. Yeah. And so we move back to today's episode, right? So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive right into the question.
Broken. Don't owe you an explanation.
Welcome back, guys. Today's episode of the TeenTok show, and today we're dealing with a question from another teenager who is asking, and they're saying, I think I'm addicted to masturbation and pornography. I know that it is bad for me, but I kind of want to keep doing it. I always get dirty thoughts, so maybe this is where I should be at, right? And so today, like always, the questions are very controversial. Sometimes can be controversial, sometimes can be very mind-boggling, or just some concerns that young people have, right? And so today we're going to dive right into the question. And first thing that I want to say personally is that no, that's like the first thing that I want to say. No, this is not where you are meant to be. You are meant to be somewhere better, like just not at this stage in your life, or at this place where you think that is good for you, right? And another thing that I want to really make or really announce or say out loud is that your feelings are not wise, right? Or is that the word I would say? I don't know, but yeah, I think that's really correct. And also, just because you feel a certain way or you think a certain thing, doesn't mean that you have to act a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And I think it all goes back to the root, right? So I want us to first talk about the thoughts, because according to the IDA principle, the thoughts leads to the action, right? So IDA principle, for those of you who do not know, IDA principle says that information stirs up a desire, and the desire will lead you to the action. So where are you getting the information from is what is really important, right? If you, let's say you see somebody and you say, oh, this person is nice. How would you have known this person is nice if you have never seen this person before? How do you have known about this person if you have never seen the person before? So information really matters, right? So I want us to talk about that before we talk about being addicted to these things that this person is talking about, right? So where you getting the information from? Social media is a very it can be a very beautiful place, but it can also be a very bad place for some people, depending on how you are looking at it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that because of that, you need to be very careful, even as a Christian, what you watch, what you listen to, things that you read, your eyes, your ears, those things are very important. Those senses, they are very, very important. Because like the digital world basically appeals to your ears and your eye senses. Yes. I learned about that in school. Okay. So we're going right into that. First of all, we're talking about the thoughts. So what do you think about that?
Okay, so I feel like you think like the things that occupy your mind are the things that you feed it with. So like let's use a typical example. Like when we're younger, we do not know about these things. We don't know about these things, and like we don't think about these things because we are not exposed to them. So the thought of blue film or like it doesn't pass your mind because you're absolutely like you know nothing about it. So I feel like it's what you feed your mind with that it starts to meditate on and try to process. And then before you know what you're doing, you're not only just thinking about it, you start to want to like practice it. Yeah. So I just feel like it's what you're exposed to that determines your thoughts.
Yeah, that is very true. Even the Bible talks about it, about your mind, and then when you read the Bible, it talks about how we should be dead. Like those things, we should not live like the way that we used to, or we should not think like the way that we used to when we were in the world, or when we used to do things according to the world, right? You're supposed to change. You're supposed to be renewed by in your mind. You're supposed to renew the way that you think. Okay, and I think first of all, you really need to know where you're getting the information from. I think that's one of the most important things. Some people have different weaknesses, and people have different like levels. Everybody is different. Some person might be triggered, or just because they see two people hug, they can get triggered. Some people, because they see two people kiss, they can get triggered. Some people, because they see some people touching each other or romancing, whatever they call that, they can get triggered. Okay, so you really need to know where you stand, and you really need to guide your eye gates and your ear gates, because it is very important, right? And then once you get where you're getting the information from, then you begin to screen everything. Now I recently discovered that there's a feature on YouTube, like, and I was like a few days ago old when I discovered that you can actually I don't know how do you call that thing there, like screen, like restrict some things from coming on your feed.
Okay.
I just discovered that a few days ago. Yeah, and then when I activated it, I saw that like a lot of things, like even comments, I cannot even read comments again. And comment section is nice like sometimes. Yeah, but then like when you that's what we're always supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to screen what you are watching, what you are reading, because you're supposed to have that self-discipline. Because there's no way that you would want to, like, maybe you are in the fire, you are burning, and you go and take kerosene and pour it on yourself. You think you come out, you will not be it's not even this, it will come out as charcoal. It's not even barbecue.
Even worse burns.
Yeah, you're going to be even worse, like from frying pan into the fire, right? And also one thing that other people find or think, or even personally I have experienced that, is thinking that maybe you're too strong for something or something like that. Like for example, if you have gone through a certain cycle in your life or something like that, and then you feel like, I've passed this stage, or
like
definitely I can, like
it won't affect me anymore.
Yes, and then you kid yourself when you say that.
Say you kid yourself.
You kid yourself, because I want to use one proverb, but I don't know the proverb. So if something has happened to you once, it can happen to you again. So basically what I'm trying to say is that don't think that you are too strong to, like, maybe you are strong enough to watch a sex-related scene or something and think that, it's not going to affect me. As long as you have blood in this your body not be firewood. As long as you have blood in this your body, you're supposed to know that you can't stand those things, right? The Bible talks about fleeing. Fleeing is very important. it's always important to flee from all these things. Paul said to Timothy in 1 Timothy that you should flee from youthful lust. Anything that has to do with that. When you see it, don't even say, okay, let me come on. This looks interesting. Run away from it. If you can even scroll 2-3 times faster, please do it. Okay. Yeah. So what the first thing to do is getting your to getting your thoughts, to getting these dirty thoughts out, or fixing this dirty thoughts problem is knowing where you're getting your information from. Right. And I want to continue talking about it because I think a lot of people feel like, oh, because I think a certain way, maybe okay, this is like right, okay. And I think that sometimes we forget that person, like on a whole scale, we're just like human
people,
beings.
honestly.
Yeah, and human beings, the Bible says something that I find very true to be is that we are desperately, the Bible says that humans are desperately wicked. You know, like person, like inside,
yeah,
inside.
It's the Adamic nature.
And then Jesus said that it's not what you take in that they say defies what comes out of you. That means that there's something that's inside you that is naturally
just
not
like that.
So don't think that or there used to be a time that I used to be like I'm very self-righteous or something. I know there's only one person that can give you that confidence or that can give you that thing. That's Jesus. And that's why he came to live that perfect life, you know. He came to live that sinless life. So it is only when you are alive in him and dead to yourself, that is when you can live that life of not having those thoughts or not living according to those emotions. It's only in Jesus, right? So when you go further and read, when you go further and think about this question, talking about like I was saying, when you read further and you think about how you have just gone back to being like a person that you are having like a dirty thoughts or feelings, and you feel like or maybe I think last week there was an episode on TeenTok Ghana. TeenTok Ghana, they did an episode talking about pornography and how like people just like, you just think about it, and then like the person was talking about like they sometimes they're in the presence of God, they're worshiping, and all of a sudden
it crosses their mind.
These things come into their mind. Yeah, and I remember very well that when Pastor came here last time at fellowship, he talked about it. And he talked about like how can you stop these thoughts, okay? And he said, think about pleasant things. Think about good things. The Bible mentions
counter it immediately.
You always have to switch. Now, what are the things that you're switching to? Things that are pure, things that are good, things that are noteworthy. You know, good things. Think about those things. Maybe when those things are coming to your mind, think about something that will just change the mood. Or if you are alone in the room, go outside where you can be distracted by other things. Right? Go into the presence of God. Go and do different things. Just
to take your mind off it.
Just take your mind off it. And that's a very good way to counter these emotions or to counter these thoughts, because they can be very like strong, or you would think that they are very strong, right? And what else do you think about it?
I just feel like it's what you feed your mind with that manifests itself. And if you can do your best to keep away from thinking or like feeding your mind with those type of things, then you should be fine. But also, I think you have to also make a conscious, because sometimes it's not even you looking for these things. They kind of just find them. Yeah, exactly. Kind of just in your face, you know. They kind of just come, like pop up randomly. So we also need to have self-control, because there's people that will pop up, and then when they pop up, just X the tab or something. Then there are some people that curiosity, or like your mind will be like, okay, let us see more. Like what's this actually about? So you need to know how to control yourself, because self-control also has a part to play. You also need to know you also have to be, you don't have to be idle. Because when you're idle, when you're not doing anything, that's when things start coming into your mind. Because there is no way you can actually be working on something, or like, let's say you're occupied or you have an assignment to submit. Like something very important is on your mind, and then that thing will just randomly pop. People usually, when people like masturbate or like watch blue film, it's usually when they're alone and they're doing nothing. Like 90% of the time, they're not doing anything at that moment, and that's when those like thoughts creep in. You get. So I just feel like if you keep yourself occupied enough, or even let's say sometimes you don't always have to be doing something. Just if you're talking to a friend or something, like even some people don't know how to just control themselves. So I feel like if you're feeling that way, just call somebody and start a conversation or something, or watch a movie, or just do anything else rather than letting the thoughts overtake you.
I think there's a word for it. I remember one time Ato told me, I've forgotten. I know it's counterintuitive or something like that. Okay, but then it's just like going against your basic like animalistic like.
What you need to do,
what
like, you feel like your body has to do,
just going against it, and then we also, one thing as well that we need to use is the word of God, because when Jesus was tempted back in the desert, what did he use? He did not use his own words, or he did not say, I have power, I can do it. No, he used the word of God. He's the word of God. And sometimes the devil too can use the word of God. You know, I watched a skit last time that the guy was talking, and in his skit he was acting like the devil and the believer, like when they're being tempted, you know, and all. And there was like really, really distinct scriptures that were used there, like the devil used in that skit, you know, talking about a righteous man will fall 7 times and rise up, something like that. And how, you know, just he was just telling the guy that, you can do it, you can tomorrow, start again tomorrow. Start being righteous tomorrow, you can do it, start again tomorrow. You know, or you have already gone this far.
What is the difference?
What is the difference? Because we have already seen this girl and
there's something I want to say. So people have this mindset that like if they've committed a sin, they're now like, okay, I've already done it, like what's the worst that can happen? Because I've seen people that, let's say they commit fornication or something, and they'll now start feeling somehow because like they're already not virgins, so like what is the point of even trying to keep themselves? Like the whole point, they were trying to keep themselves, but like when they've lost it, lost it. So then that they now use it as a license to just be free and then continue sinning, which I do not agree with and I do not believe, because even if, let's say, what has been done, yeah, but like it's a mindset thing. It's up to you now to take a personal like choice to change. Because it's not only physically, it's a mental something. And the thing with like people nowadays, like I don't know if you know, but I feel like sex is actually a ritual. It's like when the Bible says a man will leave his wife and become one.
He will leave his
father's house and become one with his wife. That is the physical joining. That's the spiritual, like that's the tying of the spirits. That's why some people will say, like, there was this thing I watched, that why do people go around feeling empty? It was like, because of a generation like nowadays, they've made all these physical intimacies like so cheap. So let's say you sleep with one person, and as you are sleeping with people are taking pieces of you. So you sleep with this person takes a piece of you. This person takes a piece of you. This person, how will you feel fulfilled? How will you feel full? Because everybody is walking with pieces of you. So you're obviously going to feel like there's something missing. And then the worst part is that whenever these like things happen, you no longer have contact with the person again. For husband and wife, they can actually take a piece of you and still be with you, so you still feel whole. You understand? But like when people go around just, you know, it's a mental, it also affects their mental health as much as it affects their physical and spiritual too. So
that is actually something really wild, because it's something that's actually very true. And so I want us to go back to talking about the the addiction part, you know. And today, actually, I was listening to a podcast by Pastor Kiki, and in which when he was talking to some people, and he said that God actually wants you to be addicted, but to the right things. Okay, now I don't want to go through the substance the way he did, because it sounded very disinformative for someone who wouldn't know. Okay, and then he quoted Matthew, I think, when Jesus said, when they asked Jesus what is the greatest commandment, or when Jesus asked what is the greatest commandment, he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And the first commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your being, right? And so that is like basically everything with everybody that is having an addiction, you know. That thing that they are addicted to, they have love for it, you know, in their heart. Ask them. It is in their hearts. It is in their heart. They are obsessed. They are enticed. They are engrossed. And that's the exact thing that God wants you to do.
But
to
with
him. Yeah. You know, to be addicted to him, that means that you are like, everything about you is focused on God. Everything about you, you are so engrossed in him. You're so engrossed in his love that everything else fades away. You know, some people, they can do whatever they want anyway. Whatever they are addicted to, maybe they're addicted to drugs or something. Wherever they see, whenever they get the chance, they are going to go to it, right? So addiction, you have to be addicted to the right thing. And this person that's saying that I think I'm addicted to pornography and masturbation, right? And I think it really goes back to the mindset problem. You know, everything goes to, like, it happens in your mind. You know, when you get the information, the way that your mind thinks about, the way your mind processes the thoughts, right? If you have the right mindset, the right mindset will obviously reject the wrong thoughts, right? So how are you training your mind? Are you training your mind to accept, or are you training your mind to go this thing, right? And I just want to say very clearly that blue film, as we know it, has nothing to offer anybody. It has nothing to offer anybody.
Doesn't fix any problem.
Yes, and the thing that you think that it solves, that lost problem, it doesn't solve it. It just makes it worse. Yeah, it just makes it worse.
Because then when you watch it, you now start thinking about it. It just makes it worse. Let's say
you want to get more.
You want exactly.
And you want more.
Keep on fueling it. You keep on fueling it. Like, it's the same thing with someone having an alcohol problem,
or drugs,
and or drug problem. Like, let's say the first time you took alcohol, like, you made the decision to stop, but then you continue. Let's say you continue drinking, or anytime you get the chance you drink alcohol, it's going to be harder to stop because you have already, like, the foundation that you could have broken has already been very built, and now you're in too deep. Which I don't believe there's any such thing as being in too deep when you have Jesus Christ in your life, because he can bring you out of any problems that you're having. But it's better not to start than to start and then have problems stopping. Yeah. So,
yeah, Pastor Kege would say that a car that is not like the car that is off. How do you say that in English?
A car that is not starting.
Yes, like, it's harder to move a car that has not started than it is to move a car that is started. Like, once you turn the
engine, the key,
the key on, and the car is on, right? It is easier to move it than a car that
you have not on the key. Okay, yeah, we get. Okay.
Yeah, it takes a lot of people more.
Yeah,
but then you get my point. I don't know what's happening with me these days. Like, it's really sad. But anyways, okay. Anyway, so we're just saying, basically the issue that this is not going to help you. So you have to first realize that it's not going to help. It is not something that can solve any problem for you, right? It's just making the problem, because lust is never satisfied. Lust just grows bigger and bigger, and then at the end of the day, you end up feeling lost. You end up feeling empty. You end up feeling useless. It just makes things worse. And the guilt builds up, the condemnation builds up. There are just so many things that could go, that come with like the baggage. The package is not a single package something. It's not a single package something. It is something that you can get something more than you subscribed for. Right? They just show you the first picture. They don't show you the rest that is there. It's a very big load. And it's very, very easy for someone to get addicted to blue film or masturbation. You know, those things, it's very easy for people to get addicted to. So that's why it's always better to not start, right? Mm-hmm. And then for those people who have started or who are in it and thinking, oh, so what can I do at this point? Like, what do I do? You know, just think about like, once you have found this empty place or this, once you have found this, what is the word again? Once you have found the right mindset, once you have realized that, okay, this is something that is not
good.
Or, this is something that is not good, or this is something that is not working for me, or it's something that it's not who I am, you know, because you have to realize at the end of the day who you are. Because we are the light of the world, we are the righteousness of God, we are people that Jesus himself came to die for. Right? He became sin for us so that we may be the righteousness of God. Right? And so one example that I've heard being used is that if you know that if you have a jewel, $1 million worth jewel, will you allow will you allow beggars or people on the street, homeless people, come and take a look and touch it anyhow? Will you allow just anybody to come and take it? No, you wouldn't, because you know how much it's worth. So it's the same thing with you. Once you have to come to a place of realizing what you're worth. You have to come to a place, and then sometimes people think that, okay, maybe being guilty is enough, or maybe feeling or remorseful or regretting, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, it's enough. But it is never powerful enough. You know, conviction of the Holy Spirit to help you to be able to move from it. That's why the Bible says that when you hear the voice of God, today, do not harden your heart. Mm-hmm. So the first, maybe because some people would say that, but I no longer feel guilty when I do it, or I no longer feel condemned, or I know of course the condemnation is there, but I no longer feel guilty. My conscience no longer hurts when I do it. You know, it's become like a daily ritual for me. And just like this person, because they feel like they don't want to get out of it. So because there's no longer that alarm that rings in their head that, oh, what you have done is bad. Yeah. They're like, oh, it is part of me now. You know, so before getting to that stage, you really need to work on it. Like right now, even as I'm talking to you right now, and you're feeling like, oh, I need to get rid of this addiction, or I think this something is not good for me. You know, start now. Speak to God, and then one advice would be to surrender everything to Jesus. Surrender everything to Jesus. Every part of you. Take your quiet time very seriously. Because it is what is going to help you to know God's word, which you are going to use to fight off the temptation. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't know God's word, what are you going to tell the devil? You know? And just knowing that the devil is only as powerful as the things that we do not know, the things that we choose not to use, or the things that we forget. Right? Things that we choose not to use, the things that we forget, you know. Sometimes we forget that we have the power, or the temptation is not as strong as we think it is, you know. Because God will not allow any temptation that will come our way that is not, like, that is bigger than us. Like, we're able to overcome every temptation that comes our way. But sometimes we forget that. And because we forget that, we are not able to overcome that temptation. As soon as it comes, as you surrender to it. And it's like, you could have avoided it had it been you know, or you use that against it, right? Okay. And so we're going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're really going to talk about the default effects and the solutions to these addictions and the thoughts, right?
Broken. Don't tell you an explanation.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the show. Right, today we're really dealing with some a very, very interesting question. A very interesting question. I think this question is really important because I feel like a lot of people are going through the same thing or something similar, very similar. Because this person is talking about addiction to masturbation and blue film, and so because basically I'm not like other people are dealing with addiction in itself. You know, it can be different addictions. Addictions to maybe even your phone, you know, it's an addiction as well. Yes. Or you can be addiction to drugs or alcohol, those type of things, you know, just any kind of addiction. And so we're moving, and then one thing where like I want to start with is knowing that the danger of blue film, right? And it is something that is very, very powerful because it feeds lust. It feeds lust. There are other things that feed lust, but blue film is the worst. Yes, it's the worst. It's the worst. And because it has like a lot, there are just a lot of things that are involved in it, and so it at the end of the day, there's no feeling of satisfaction. And then there's this hormone that is being released every time that somebody masturbates or something. You know, I think it's dopamine. I don't know. I've forgotten. I used to be a science student. Sorry, I used to be a science student. Now I'm an art student. So out of these things, I've forgotten them personally. So don't blame me. Please do your research. And just like I used to say, that it's always important to have that, to know the beginning of everything, you know. And then where do all these things stem from? From sexual relations, you know. And why did even God create those things? Or why did even God bring those things into being? Why did he allow us to have these emotions or these feelings, you know? Why did he allow us to experience these things? You know, and I think first of all, we need to know why is it important, or what was it designed for, you know? And I think basically sexual relations were designed especially for marriage and only for marriage, you know. It is specially designed for marriage, and so it is only within those spaces that it is acceptable and it is worthy or allowed and you know, honorable, you know, within the comfort within your marital home, you know. Relation between a husband and a wife, yes. And so moving on to just saying that it is just like very it can be very or it can be very hard for someone to get or to not have these, especially as you're coming out as teenagers, as we are coming out as teenagers, you know. Puberty brings a lot of things into our minds, you know. And some people have been introduced to blue film since they were young, like maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, from all those ages. And so what those things do, the information does, it corrupts your mind. It brings so many things that, like, it's like an opening of a new world that I have never seen before. And it just causes so much harm than good. It causes a lot more harm than good. Now people would argue that masturbation is not. People argue that it's not bad. Yes, it's not because bad. It's not in the Bible. Blah blah blah. Some people say it's good for your health. I know somebody who I have had that discussion. Yes, discussion. This one has fried my brain. No, I had this discussion with, you know, and they screenshotted Google searches that said, oh, it's fine to masturbate because you are releasing some things, you know, as if you keep them bottled up for a long time, it's not good for you, you know. Hey, but that's not what God said. You know, it's supposed to, because things like what helps you is self-control. What is self-control? Self-control is the fruit of the spirit. And what do you self-control for? You self-control in everything that you're doing. You know, you're always supposed to train your body. You're supposed to train your spiritual body. You're supposed to train your physical body. And these things, they are more than just physical. You know, it goes back to the spiritual world. All right, you're always supposed to be able to control. Because, for example, if you feel like killing someone, or you are thinking about killing someone, yeah, one day, yeah, you come and kill that person. So what do you have to do? You have to start from the information place. You have to start from the information. You have to change the way they are thinking about the person. Otherwise, then you end up in jail. I'm telling you, end up in jail if you kill somebody, right? Even if you stab the person safe, you end up in jail, right? So thinking from the and then I remember as Keke said, we kill ourselves when we say that when we kill ourselves when we think that we want to stop masturbation or those type of things from the action level. That's not it. That's not it works. It's not after when you have seen it all you want to say, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No. It starts from the information. It starts from the information place. So once you have already figured, we have to figure out that place. You have to figure out that place. And sometimes it can be hard. It can be hard sometimes. Yeah. You know, I had to restrict my YouTube because it was giving me some things that I did not want to see. You know, I had to restrict it. You know, and although it restricted some of the things that I wanted to see as well, but at the end of the day, it was for my good. It was for my good. And then things that God does for us, or things that God tells us to do, is not to harm us. It's for our own good. You know, for those of you wondering why should I wait? Why should I not do it now? You know, because God said
don't do it.
Yeah, no, you should not do it, and because it is not good for you. You know, when you have trained your body to be used to masturbation, or only when you are watching other people, that's when you feel like, oh, that's when you are able to do something or things like that. You know, it's going to harm you in the future when you decide to get married. It's going to harm you in the future. So under no circumstances should pornography or blue film be something to consider as a Christian or as a child of God, that it is something that it is okay to do, because God does not agree with it. And then if you feel like you are somebody that is addicted and you can't help, you have to talk to somebody. You know, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. Maybe you have tried praying on your own. Have you tried praying with somebody else? Have you tried, maybe you have told God, have you tried telling somebody else about it? You know, accountability works as well. When someone is accountable for you, that is when, or when you're accountable to somebody, that's when you're able to see, or you're able to know, or people, you know, people can check on you, right? If the person knows that, okay, this person's weakness, or this person only does these type of things when they are alone in their room at this particular time of the night, they are not sleeping. They are always checking on you. Are you asleep right now? What are you doing? Where are you right now? Are you home? Are you in your room? Come outside. Do this, do that. You know? Also be willing to open up and be vulnerable to people. Because sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes that's all it takes. Because you can't be a one-man person.
No man is an island.
Yeah, no man is an island. You need people to help. You need people to be there for you. Right? But if you don't tell them, how will they know about it? Yeah. How will they know about it? So yeah, what do you have to say to this person?
Okay, so in addition to what you have said, the accountability thing, I feel like it's really, really important for you to have somebody that you talk to about these things. Because then, even like, you can only do so much. Then they can bring like their own perspective, and they can bring suggestions, things that you don't think about, to you, to help you fix your problem. Because, as I would say, everybody sees things differently, and like there's this common saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody has their own perception of life and perception of how they can see things. Like, I can be looking at a picture and I'll see something else, and then somebody can be looking at that same thing and see something else. So considering that fact that everybody has different point of view. I feel like you should have someone that you talk to about your problems. And I also feel like the person that you talk to has to be someone higher, like that has a higher spiritual standing than you. Because I don't see the point of talking to somebody that you know the person does the same thing. What are they going to say? The blind cannot lead the blind. Never. Have you ever seen a blind person being led by a blind person? So you always need somebody that has sight to be able to lead you. So you have to talk to someone. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say concerning the matter. And yeah, the thing, people like, oh, I think this is where I'm supposed to be. No. It's the devil that's trying to make you think that's where you're supposed to be. Because sometimes you feel so condemned to the point where you don't feel like there's no going back. You understand? You feel like I'm already there. Like there's nothing, there's no turning back from this point. There's no redemption. And like I would just say that's a lie from the devil, that you can always turn back and Christ is always ready to help you and take you back.
Yeah, and I'm just remembering the story of Jesus and the adulterous woman. And for that woman, she was caught in the act. Like, she was caught in the act. And they brought her out. Probably they just gave her time to wrap around her body. And they drove her out to meet Jesus. And they were like, okay, we met this woman doing blah, blah, blah. You know, so what do you think we should do? And then after Jesus said everything that he was supposed to say, everything he said to them, after he turned to the woman and he said, where are your accusers? And he said, oh, they have left, they are nowhere to be seen. And he told her, go, I do not condemn you. Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. So before the sin, this condemnation has to leave. You have to know who you are and where you are standing. Right? Know your worth, know your value. And how do you know your value? You can only know your value in God. You can't, because He is the one that knows you. So you go to people who know things. Like, for example, you go to a dictionary, because you know the dictionary has the answers to like the definition of the word, right? So go to God, because God defines you. He knows who you are, right? So you go to God, and then how can you be able to, like, during your quiet time, having time, spending time with God, spending time in His presence. You know, His presence is far better. Is far better than any other thing that you can be doing, any other or elsewhere any other place that you can find your pleasure in, or where you think you can find your pleasure in. You can find that in God, right? And so you move to God, you move closer to God. And then you see that your life begins to change. But then if you don't take things, like I find that a lot of times in the past, I used to think that, okay, if I ask God for forgiveness, I'm going to, like, it's going to immediately stop the thing from happening. Like, it's going to immediately stop the thing from happening. No, that's not how it works. You have to work on it, and with God, you have to work on the thing with God, right? So asking for forgiveness, or it's just like you're just claiming who you are, and then that's what you're supposed to work in. You're supposed to work in. Just like this example that, if someone is supposed to be given the death sentence or something, and then they go to and then like they receive presidential pardon. Someone's supposed to die. Would they come out and start shooting people again? No, because they have now realized that they have realized something about themselves. That are better than this. So we should all just realize that you are better than this. And don't let condemnation keep you in. Because Jesus said, I do not condemn you. Go and sin no more. So receive that right now and live that lifestyle. Live that lifestyle. Not L-I-V-E, L-E-A-V-E.
Live and live. Live that lifestyle. Live
that lifestyle. And live
Jesus' lifestyle. That's what's up.
Okay. Guys, I think that my throat is giving me problems there.
It's raining season because of the weather.
I think so, but it's fine anyways. So we're going to go on another break, and we will be right back.
Broken. Don't tell you an explanation.
Welcome back, guys, to this episode. So today this person was talking about how they think that they're addicted to masturbation and film, and they say, oh, I always have dirty thoughts, so maybe this is my place, and we just basically countered those words and saying, no, this is not who you are, this is not where you belong, and that you really need to check your information, where you're getting this information from. That is where the thoughts stem are from, where you're getting the information from, right? And then you also need to look at your you also need to try building your relationship with God, because that's something that's going to help you with I
mean, we've said everything, so
yes so basically just build your relationship with God. Talk to people, tell somebody what you are going through, somebody that can help you, can actually help you. Okay,
just
talk to that person about what you are, maybe, or even if you don't know who you're supposed to talk to, ask God to lead you to the person that you're supposed to talk to, and He's going to lead you to the right person that you're supposed to talk to.
Broken. Don't tell you an explanation. Broken. Don't tell you an explanation.